Hello, the theme of the latest edition of ACUMEN is innovation, and we know that innovation is critical to business, it's critical to the capitalist system, and that by and large countries get the kind of innovation that they need. So, what's South Africa's track record in this regard? We asked TechCentral.co's Duncan McCloud to investigate and come up with the answer. Duncan, welcome. What did you find? Are we still an innovation nation?
I think so. I mean, we perhaps don't develop as many innovations as countries like Israel or North America, which has, of course, has Silicon Valley, which does incredible innovation in the technology space. But we've invented some pretty cool stuff over the years. Creepycrawly is probably the most obvious example. But you know, we've developed. South Africans have been responsible for some pretty amazing inventions, which I think many South Africans aren't even aware of, like the CAT scanner, for example, used in hospitals. For example, another example would be the predictive text you use on your cell phone, particularly on the old Nokia phones. We used to press a combination of numbers to type out a word quickly. That was developed by a South African working at Bell Labs. So we have done some pretty amazing stuff over there. Another example, a great example, of course, would be Mark Shuttleworth, who developed the Ubuntu Linux operating system, which is used on servers around the world, used by companies such as Google. So yeah, we are a fairly innovative lot when we need to be.
Come back to the point about we get the innovations we need, we get the innovations which come out of our society. The creepy-crawly you mentioned couldn't have happened in the UK. Bad weather, no swimming pools. It had to happen in somewhere like Australia or South Africa.
Yes, absolutely. Again, and came about because someone was just frustrated with spending all his weekend time cleaning his swimming pool. He felt there had to be an easier way of doing this.
And by the same token, the Lodox X-ray machine, which was one I hadn't heard of. Again, a specifically South African context.
Indeed. Developed on the mines, specifically on diamond mines in South Africa, to scan miners to make sure that diamonds weren't walking off the mines, and then repurposed as an X-ray system.
And it's used now around the world?
That's right, absolutely. It's used by facilities worldwide.
We have the world's first digital laser, you tell me?
That's right, developed at the CSIR, and it's been the work of a research student from Durban. Some pretty innovative stuff. In fact, the CSIR has been responsible for a number of innovations in South Africa.
Do we have the level of education in the country to sustain this?
And that is a big worry, I think, particularly in basic education. I think a lot of the innovation we're seeing in South Africa today is coming about because of money that's being invested around university towns. I think Stellenbosch is an excellent example of this. A lot of the innovation I think we're seeing, particularly in the IT and online space at the moment, is happening around Stellenbosch University. I think you're seeing students. They've got a very particularly strong computer science department there, and we see there's a lot of old money in Stellenbosch, and a lot of that old money is being redirected to a lot of these tech startups.
They have that techno park just outside Stellenbosch, don't they?
They do, and we're seeing a lot of development happening there. Some really smart people. For example, this new SnapScan application, which was recently launched by Standard Bank, which was developed by a Stellenbosch-based company called FireID. They're doing some really world-first stuff here in terms of using your smartphone to make payments and really getting traditional bank-based card systems out of the market. In fact, what they're doing here is the sort of stuff that Apple's just announced with their Apple Pay. So they really are ahead of the game in terms of some of the stuff that's coming out of Stellenbosch.
You must see an enormous amount of this at TechCentral.co.
Not a massive amount. You know, I think we cover the technology, the IT and telecoms markets historically. I think in many respects South Africa is a follower market. While we have had some great innovations, we certainly, there's some dispute about whether we invented prepaid in South Africa or we perfected the prepaid model of cell phones here in South Africa. I think that we do tend to be followers. Certainly in the IT industry, we tend to bring in international solutions. Perhaps we adapt them for the South African market, but we tend to resell international solutions. There is innovation, but I don't think it's happening on the sort of scale that you might see in a market like Israel, for example, where the defense industry really directs a lot of cash and investment into high-end military solutions, which then turn into commercial applications. You know, I think that while we have had some pretty cool inventions over time, I don't think we necessarily could describe ourselves as a particularly innovative market when it comes to technology.
Let me stir the provincial pot here for a moment. You tell me there's stuff happening down in the Western Cape. I presume, therefore, that there must be quite a lot happening up here in Johannesburg.
Not as much, I find. You know, certainly when it comes to startups, and we dedicate on Tech Central, we dedicate a section of our site to just covering startups. I would say 80% of the startups we cover come from Cape Town. There's a lot of investment coming. I don't know what it is particularly.
Any idea why?
Again, I think certainly in the case of Stellenbosch, I think it's the university, and I think it's the old money that's flowing around the system there. But not all of them are coming out of Stellenbosch. They're also coming out of Cape Town itself. Why? I don't know. Maybe Cape Townians have more time to think about these things and what they want to do, and Joburg is more of a rush city. It's a big corporate city. People come here to work for banks or for mines and that sort of thing. Perhaps there's a bit of more of a laid-back culture in Cape Town which encourages innovation. I don't know. It's a good question.
Well, whether it's in Cape Town or whether it's in Johannesburg, evidence that South Africa does have still the workings of an innovation nation. Duncan McCloud, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.